death. I've always had a healthy fear of it, but now it almost seems like a generous gift. After the things I've seen, the things I've experienced, I'm not sure I want to live anymore. Okay, it would have been nice to die in a slightly more dignified state, but still, I welcome death at this point. The only problem is that no one will ever know. No one will ever suspect the deadly force this abomination contains. Sure, they know about the horrors within, but to what degree? Certainly not to the same one as me. If only I'd left it alone. If only I'd never started this whole thing. Fuck this game! Fuck it straight through, Satan hairy arsehole! This is unholy! It's an abomination! A putrid, wretched pile of the most rancid fucking pig shit ever fucking created! Ah! I don't believe this game. I seriously cannot believe how fucking atrocious this fucking hedge clip between your testicles is! It's beyond awful! It's a fucking castration of your fucking soul! So yeah, spoiler alert! This is going to be bad, motherfuckers! Why? Well, because we're going to go over one of, if not the worst game ever fucking created. Sonic the Hedgehog. The 2006 version. Fucking shoot me now! Fuck me, this game hurts. It hurts so much. There's seriously almost nothing, absolutely fucking nothing about this game that is at all decent. I'm not even kidding, it's fucking unbelievable. I don't even know where to start because every single thing, every single second of this donkey's anus physically hurts me. The story, the characters, the level design, and the fucking insanely bullfucked gameplay, it all fucking blows. Honestly, I don't even know why the fuck I'm doing this. I mean, it's not like anyone ever thought this game was even remotely good. Absolutely everyone fucking hated this fucking raping of the corpse of Sonic. So why even bother? Well, I guess this could possibly serve as some sort of tutorial on how to completely butt-fuck a game, or maybe as a warning to anyone who has any lingering curiosity about it, or who wants it because of Sonic or something like that. Well, even though it's going to hurt, and I mean it's really going to hurt, I guess I might as well go over it. I mean, I can't really get out of it now anyway. As I said though, I don't really know where to begin, so why don't we do this? Why don't we just start the game up and see how long it takes before it completely collapses in on itself? Okay, let's just see where this leads, shall we? Oh, okay, this isn't that bad, I guess. Okay, so it's just a title screen, but first impressions are pretty decent overall. I mean, the music is actually pretty damn good and the visuals look promising. Huh, maybe there's some hope for this game after all. Wait, what? What's this? Did I just switch games or something? What the fuck am I looking at? This isn't Sonic. This looks like some kind of Final Fantasy ripoff or something. Did I put in the wrong game? No, it definitely says Sonic on the disc and on the title screen, so what's going on here? This can't be right, can it?
A pleasure to meet you at last, Princess of Soliana.
What? No, they couldn't have. I must be seeing this wrong. They couldn't possibly be this fucking stupid. This must just be some weirdly shaped mutant or something, right? They couldn't possibly be using this sort of setting for...
Wow, that's a pretty snazzy performance there.
Really? You're really doing this? This is really what you consider to be a perfect setting for a fucking Sonic game? Are you fucking insane? Do you honestly feel that this opening, this setting, and Sonic the fucking Hedgehog seem at all compatible? Really? You don't see any fucking disparity between these two elements? Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you fuckrags? So yeah, They can't even get through the fucking opening cutscene without royally fucking up. But you know what? This is probably as good as the game ever gets. Oh yeah! It's all way downhill from here! So if you make it through the thrilling opening, you get presented with probably the worst, most broken, slowest, glitchiest fucking game hub type area I've ever experienced. Yeah, even something as relatively simple as a main hub or safe area or level select town or whatever the fuck you want to call it is too fucking difficult for the monkey wankers who made this game. I know that overall this isn't really that big a deal, but look at this! I can barely walk down the fucking street without the game fucking chugging and breaking down. How the fuck do you fuck up the mechanics of being able to walk down a fucking street? Anyway, the game is basically broken up into the actual levels and the fucking excellent hub towns. The towns are pretty much what you'd expect. An area where you can gather information, do various minor side missions, buy new equipment, or just travel to the next level. Again, it's not something that really matters in the long run, I guess, but there really isn't any fucking reason to have these fucking towns. Oh, sure, without them you wouldn't be able to buy new equipment the 2 times you need to do that, and you wouldn't be able to have all these wonderful and insightful conversations with people, but you know, I think I would be willing to make that sacrifice. Then, of course, there are the actual levels, the only areas that should have been in the game at all, at least if they were at all playable. I guess the overall design of them are pretty decent, but that doesn't help much when you would rather shove an actual hedgehog up your fucking anus than enjoy the insanely horrific gameplay on offer here. I'm not even kidding when I say that almost nothing, and I do mean fucking nothing, works. It may not look all that bad, but you have no idea. It's almost impossible to control this thing. The controls are fucking mutilated. Maybe that's why the game has so many areas where you almost don't have to touch the fucking controller. They knew it would only make things worse. I mean, you can't adjust your orientation at all without either flying off the level or crashing into walls or enemies, no matter how fucking careful you are. The slightest breath of movement on the joystick and you go flying. When it comes to the actual moves, you can obviously run or possibly walk around the levels, you can jump, slide, or use a homing attack. However, even this doesn't fucking work. Most of the time, these moves are somewhat functional, but about half the time, the game either refuses to do the moves as instructed, or it does them completely differently from how they should work. The slide can sometimes last way too fucking long, or just not work at all. The homing attack will either not home in on anything, or it will home in on a wall, or even just empty fucking space. That's just great. Even the actual game just wants this shit to end. Why else would it constantly be trying to fucking kill you? Anyway, the actual goal of the game is to make it through the levels as fast as you can while collecting rings, destroying enemies, and avoiding slitting your own fucking throat. If you manage to survive to the end of the level, you'll be ranked based on your time and the amount of rings you collect. At least, I think that's how it works, but then again, there are levels where you'll probably have to be dead in order to get anything lower than a fucking A ranking, and there are other levels where it's basically impossible to get anything higher than a C ranking, no matter how fast and how many rings you have, so who the fuck knows? Who even cares? It's not like this has any bearing on anything. I mean, the only thing you'll get out of it is more rings. Yeah, you're supposed to use the rings on upgrades, but as I already mentioned, you won't need to do that more than a couple of times, so why even bother with this needless and fucking retarded scoring bullshit? Oh, and I forgot to mention what you'll probably be spending like 80% of this game doing. Watching the fucking loading screens. Oh yeah, I'm not fucking kidding! You may know of some games with some truly atrocious load times, but no, they're nothing compared to this shit. Now, don't get me wrong, I can handle a little loading time. I don't usually care all that much about that, but this fucking abomination has to load all the fucked up time. It's one thing to have a few short loading screens between a cutscene and an actual level or something, but to have a load screen every time absolutely anything happens is fucking unforgivable, especially when they're all this fucking long. Seriously, why the hell do you, for instance, have one long as fuck loading screen after a cutscene showing you the next boss, then a really short in-game introduction cutscene of the same fucking boss character, then yet another fucking long as fuck load screen before the actual boss fight actually takes place? Did you really need 2 fucking loading screens for something like that? No, you fucking retarded amoebas! Okay, so the game is obviously fucking broken, but maybe you're sitting there thinking that the story might save it.
I really don't think so.
there's no way I'm going through every single aspect of this game's story, so let me just go over the basics. Sonic is trying to save the Princess of Soliana, a human city in a human world, from the clutches of who else? Dr. Eggman. He wants her because she's the key to unleashing something called Iblis or the Fires of Soliana or something like that. He also needs the Chaos Emeralds, or at least some of them for this. Not that this is ever explored, explained, or all that detailed, but yeah, this is basically a standard hero saves princess from bad guy scenario. Now, you may not think that sounds all that bad, but it's just executed so horribly, and it's so full of completely retarded stupidity that it goes beyond being insulting. For instance, why the hell doesn't anyone seem to care that the fucking princess has been kidnapped? Oh, there are a few people who will talk about it, and my fuck will they talk about it, but no one else is in any kind of hurry to see her return. No one's all that sad, no one really seems to care. They just go on with their lives as if everything is completely normal. Hell, they barely even mention her most of the time, so why the fuck should I give a blue hedgehog's arse about her? Well, probably because she's Sonic's fucking love interest. No, you did not hear that wrong. This story is all about a creepy as shit interspecies romance between a human princess and a blue fucking hedgehog. You know, just like all great love stories. Seriously, who the fuck could even begin to think that any part of this would be at all charming or romantic? It's not! It's fucking disgusting! Oh, and before you ask, no. It's not like Sonic is the only one who wants this relationship. It's clear, incredibly, creepily clear, that the princess wants Sonic just as much as he wants her. The only thing that could possibly make this creepier is if there was an unlockable sex scene hidden in the game. In addition to that, the story also involves time travel, leading to all sorts of time paradoxes and inconsistencies. The dialogue is fucking horrendous, not at all helped by the truly despicable voice acting, and of course, Sonic also teams up with several of his animal friends along the way. Oh, how wonderful! I really needed an excuse for eating my own fucking testicles! Yeah, you see, this game is so generous that it actually consists of 3 separate yet connected storylines, all of which blow more balls than a 1-pound whore. In Sonic's storyline, you will get help from his little 2-tailed buddy Tails and his one-time enemy turned friend Knuckles. However, you don't just encounter these guys, oh no, you actually get to play as them at certain points. Okay, so I will admit that this could have been somewhat fun, but you all know that's not going to happen, don't you? I guess the plots with Knuckles aren't all that bad, but they're definitely not exactly brilliant either. With Knuckles you can glide through the air, climb walls, and use various punches and such to defeat enemies and knock down some walls. Again, none of this is all that bad, but it's still so flawed you'll get sick of it within seconds. For instance, climbing on walls works well enough for the most part, but it can sometimes be a bit fidgety and unresponsive, especially when trying to get off the fucking things. The gliding works well too, but it just feels weird and it can be somewhat difficult to accurately calculate distances and such at times. The worst of it though are definitely the combat moves. Yeah, they work, but unless you're really fucking careful, you're very likely to use the wrong move at the wrong time, causing you to fly around in an uncontrollable spin or something, completely butt-fucking your progress. No matter how bad the Knuckles parts get though, I would rather spend the rest of my life doing nothing but playing those than to ever have anything to do with the Tails parts ever again. Holy Satan nuggets is this bad. Not only is the character himself somewhat annoying, but he controls like... I don't even know! He doesn't control! It's unbelievable! Okay, so I guess just moving around works well enough, but everything else is fucking atrocious. Let's just take a look at his flying ability as an example. Yes, you do get to use this ability, but only very restrictively. You can only use it for a certain amount of time, and it ends up being more like jumping really high and floating back to the ground than actually flying. If that's not bad enough, it's fucking impossible to control this wank wipe while he's in this flight mode. There's no way I can accurately portray just how fucking broken the controls for this thing is, but trust me, it's fucking useless. In addition to that, Tails also has probably the most useless fucking attack in video game history. Okay, so I guess it technically works, but the way it works just goes beyond dumb. You see, Tails doesn't really attack. Instead, he has these dummy ring things that he throws at the enemies. While this may not sound all that bad, the thing is that it takes a fucking year to throw these fucking things. You see, unless you're flying, you have to stand still while throwing, which basically means that you're fucking guaranteed to get hit before you manage to hit anything. As if that's not bad enough, you can only aim if you go into this first-person view, which you'll probably end up doing anyway, since it does that if you press the attack button for just a little bit too long. This becomes so fucking disorienting and distracting that even if you could manage to work around it, you'll be too fucking sick to do so. So as if all that wasn't bad enough, the game is actually kind enough to offer you 2 more teams to play with. Yeah. Where's the fucking cyanide when you need it? One of the other teams is Shadow's team, consisting of who else? Shadow, as well as Rouge the Bat, and eventually the E123 Omega Robot. I guess Shadow is the most playable of these 3, but again, he's just as flawed as the rest. He's basically a slightly slower version of Sonic that has a slightly different form of attack and that can also use vehicles. In other words, he's pretty damn shit. When it comes to shit though, Rouge truly has us covered. I guess you could say she's kind of the Shadow Team equivalent of Knuckles with a bit of Tails mixed in. You see, while she can glide and climb walls like Knuckles, her attack is more similar to Tails, insofar as she uses the same retarded throwing mechanics. I guess her attack is slightly better, especially if you decide to attack while she's in the air, and she then throws multiple bombs at the enemies that are usually spot on target, and will dispatch the enemies pretty effectively. However, the problems start punching you in the balls the first time you try to climb anything with her. Okay, so she attaches well enough, and moving around on the walls work well, I guess, but I can guarantee you that you will spend half your fucking life trying to get this winged bitch off the fucking walls. I don't know what it is, but no matter what you do, she simply refuses to jump away from them. Once she's on, she's staying on. She would rather stay there humping the shitting rocks than to get her dumb ass away from them. Just jump already! Jump! Get away from the fucking wall, you fucking piece of fucking batshit! In addition to her, you'll eventually also come across E123 Omega, but for this video, I just could not be asked to play the Shadow chapter long enough to meet him, so let's move on to the last team, the Silver team. As if Sonic really needed even more useless characters surrounding him, Silver is a new character they created specifically for this game. Wonderful. Just fucking wonderful. Because if there's one thing people have been complaining about when it comes to the Sonic franchise, it's that it just doesn't have enough characters. Gah! Okay, so adding a new character can be a good thing if it's done well, but who are you kidding? We're talking about some of the most incompetent game developers in history here. There's no fucking way they could pull this off. I had no hope for this character before testing him out. But guess what? I was 100% completely and definitely right on the fucking ball. This is just painful. I mean, really fucking painful. The one character that actually had a glimmer of possibly being a little interesting, and they completely rape him in his fucking ear. Yes, when I found out that there was going to be a character in this game that was sort of like a white Sonic with telekinetic powers, I was a teeny bit intrigued. But after about 2 seconds of playing as him, that intrigue quickly turned into a festering pile of molten hatred. You see, while it might be somewhat interesting to have the ability to lift various objects with your mind and use them as projectiles against your enemies, it just doesn't fucking work. Occasionally you'll hit your targets, but just as many times, the objects will end up flying off in the completely wrong directions, or sometimes even get obstructed by one of the other objects you might be holding. Well, why don't you just stun and or telekinetically lift your enemies directly then, I hear you wonder. I mean, we do see several examples of Silver's ability to do this in the cutscenes, so why not just stick with that? Well, because you can't fucking do it! No, I'm dead fucking serious. There is no way to use this ability in-game. You can stun the enemies, but in order to do so, you have to literally be standing right next to them. And I don't just mean you have to be close to them, you have to be damn near inside of them. This makes this move next to pointless, as there's basically a much bigger chance of you getting hit than there is of you being able to actually stun the enemies. I can't believe this. I seriously cannot believe this. They managed to make a character that you can barely fucking use. What was the point of making a brand new playable character if you're not gonna make him playable anyway? You brainless fucking arsehatts! The Silver stages also let you play as either Blaze, a cat that is sort of the Silver episode equivalent of Knuckles I guess, or Amy, the pink hedgehog that's always on about how much she loves Sonic. However, I again could not bring myself to play the Silver episode long enough to encounter Rose or see much of Blaze, so apologies for the minor or non-existent amount of footage of them. But in all honesty, if you really think they would help this game at all, you're fucking insane. Apart from that, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, the camera is shit, the boss fights range from boring as shit to downright insulting, and nothing about this game makes any fucking sense. Why is Sonic so interested in a human princess? Why is Rouge so attracted to rock walls? Why can't Tails fly or do anything else properly? Why can Silver only use his telekinesis effectively during cutscenes? Why? This game blows my mind on so many levels. I cannot believe that anyone could be dumb enough to release a product as fucking broken as this pile of muck. No one could have tested this game at all. It's just not possible. Not unless they just ignored absolutely everything anyone had to say. There's seriously almost nothing, absolutely fucking nothing in this game that could be considered at all decent. And that is fucking amazing. I mean, you really have to try to fuck up this atrociously bad. But you know what? I have managed to come up with a couple of things that weren't all bad. The graphics are actually pretty damn good. At least for the most part. And I, for one, kinda like the music. Okay, so maybe not all of it is good, but the main theme is actually pretty damn cool. I mean, it might not be the best theme I've ever heard, but at least they didn't make it into some atrocious rap or anything.
He's a rocket and he's ready to go, cause now the countdown has started and he's ready to blow. He's got the dope sounds bumping and his stereo. Yo, that's fast, putting on the show. Don't wanna
So, there you have it. This game made me rage quit life. What a hellish abomination. They can't even manage not to fuck up the few things that actually seem pretty decent. Fucking whorebags. Well, at least it's all over now. At least I can finally get away from it. But I have to admit, I don't really want to. I don't want this game to win. I don't want it to defeat me. But it's too late. I'm dead, and this game lives on. Well, in my opinion, this is not Sonic. This is not how I will remember him. You see, I remember when Sonic was the man, when his games were the shit, instead of just being plain shitty. Yes, I remember when it was all awesome, even the music. In fact, it was so awesome that all you could do when you heard it was go, "Fuck yeah!" No! I won't let it end this way! This game will not defeat me! You are not Sonic! You're not worthy of that name! Sonic is awesome! But this isn't Sonic! Ah! Ah! Man, that felt great! That's the power Sonic used to have. The music alone was so awesome that it would bring you back from death, just so you had the opportunity to go, "Fuck yeah!" I wonder if any other video games had music like that. Maybe I should find out.